Hello and welcome to our video on live painting. So, we know how to paint the regular ways, right? We don't usually paint bucket in this class, but we can usually select something and, find color it this way, or with the swatch panels, or over here with the fill, we can find some things to put on it, that kind of thing. There's also a tool over here known as the live painting tool. So I'm actually going to move these over each other a little bit more so we have a little bit more overlap, like so. Um, if I take all of these and I select them all together so they're all like a group, I don't have to make them into a group, I just have to have them be together. I can do one of two things. I can go to the Object menu, Live Paint, Make, which would make it into a live paint group. I can also come over here underneath the Shape Builder tool. We have the Live Paint bucket. I'm going to zoom in here. And as I drag over this, right now the bucket has a circle with a line through it, which means you can't do anything with it. If I drag over this, it says click to make a live paint group. Now, the little colors that are above this are actually the colors in my swatch panel. So you can see here it's yellow and I am on the yellow one. It's got red to the left and green to the right, and my little belt buckle here, as I like to call it, has red to the left and green to the right. So I can actually scroll through these, and as I'm using my arrow keys on my keyboard to go through these, and as I do, it moves through the swatches over here as well. So right now I'm in the light blue swatch with a green on my left and a blue on the right, and I can come down here and click to make a live paint group, and when I click, it's actually going to color. And you'll notice that it didn't color the whole circle. It colored until it hit paths. So when you live paint, it recognizes any paths that are in the stack up and down, and it uses those as barriers for the colors. So this is a nice little way to dye Easter eggs, for example, because you can make little Easter egg patterns. I can come here. Now I've got a pink piece here. I can come over here, a little orange piece, click there. I'm just scrolling again with my arrow key. I'm just scrolling through these choices. A green piece here, like so. Um, Now, when you look at these, uh, some of them have these big, thick strokes around them. Some of them have nothing around them. I can actually paint the strokes as well. I just need to come over here and double click on this and say paint strokes. Oh, it's already lit up. Okay, perfect. Say okay. So when I hold over a stroke, there we go, it should change to a brush. And you'll notice that it's not the same little tool belt. This one I'm on the greens right now with the paint bucket. And on the brushes, I'm over at the white, black, red back at the beginning. So I'm going to switch to red and click once, and I've painted that little piece there red. I can come to ones that are not painted at all. So this one is empty looking. I mean, it is painted underneath in the circle, but on this top part it's not. And I can pick a color here and click, and it will paint that. Same thickness. It's recognizing the thickness from over here, so if I want the thickness to change, I can change it in my appearance here, and come back and do it again, and now it's thinner. I can come back over to this red one here, and do that one again, and now it's thinner as well. So I can actually change the thickness of the stroke at the same time, and just go along recoloring things. If I have something like this guitar here, this is a image, I have to first image trace it. Can select this. It looks like there's 1, 2, 3 colors. So let's try that, see what happens. Oh, the white counted as a color, so that didn't work. So let's try 6 colors. Perfect. Let's say expand. I can come in here and ungroup this if I want to and get rid of the background, but I don't have to. I can select it and go up to Object, Live Paint, Make. And now I've got a little group here. I can go to my Live Paint bucket or my Live Paint selection tool. I can select little pieces with the Live Paint selection tool. You can see here I've selected 1, 2, 3 pieces by dragging over it. I could take all those pieces and make them the same color, like that. I can take my paint bucket and find other pieces and click click on them, fill them in. Can find some edges. Try to paint them in. It's fairly thin. It's only a 1-point stroke. We'll try that again. There you go. Now you can see it better. So lots of little different things that I can play around with here while I am painting this. All right. One thing that is interesting on these, or on the painting tool, here's this flower that I have, and again, this is a image, so I have to image trace it one more time here. Oops, my cat just knocked something over. Sorry about that. And when I image trace this, that looks like enough colors. I'm going to expand it. There's another thing up here under the menu, Object, Live Paint. It's called Gap Options. So you can see here, gap detection. Paint stops at small gaps. Gap preview color is light red. And so when I cross over, I don't know if you noticed in the last ones when I was crossing over them, they were just making a little red. Sorry, now my cat and my dog are both barking and causing trouble. I'm going to close this door. My apologies. And I could change that color to be a different highlight color if I wanted it to. Like on this, it's a pink thing, so maybe I want to change it to cyan or something so I can see it better. But right now, the paint is stopping at small gaps. I want to make the paint stop at large gaps. And I'm going to say set default. And so when I come in here with my paint bucket tool, click to make a live paint group. I'm going to do that. You can see that I clicked to color the background a different color, and it didn't color the whole background. It only colored this one chunk, left out all these other chunks. And you can see it's because I have the paint stopping at large gaps, right? If I switch this and said that I wanted the paint to stop at small gaps, set default again, and I click this here, this time it clicks and it covers the whole background because all these gaps were small gaps, and so the paint went right on through them. So that's how you can change the way that it's going to be painting through patterns. Same thing down here. If I come into, I'm going to go back up there and gap options. Oh, actually, I'm going to undo this one more time. Undo, go back, object, gap options, large gaps, set default. And let's see if I can find some other, oh, I have to do a live paint group first there. There we go. Let me pick another color for the rest of this. We'll do blue. See if I can make any other gaps. So here, there's gaps happening here, and it's not painting through the whole section of the bottom flower, so I get little pieces of it like that. It is doing those. Looks like it's doing up into there, so it's getting all of that. Not seeing any other gaps stopping, but it is just these little chunks stopping on there as well. And it was the same thing that was going on over here. You can see this one is still a live paint group, so it's still remembering. And if I get chunks in there, it probably would stop at those as well, though they're too tiny now at this point to register it. But it's just a nice way to be able to chunk up your picture more. So if you want to have it be more psychedelic or Andy Warhol or whatever you want it to do, you have the ability to do that with these. Because each little section can, in fact, be a different color as you're painting along through it. And so when you're doing your homework, I don't mind if if you want to make little, a stained glass window or something. You could have a stained glass window with all these different little pieces and colors on it. But I do want to see that you have changed these things. If you don't want the background to be there, then certainly you can go through and select the background and delete it. There you can just use your direct selection tool to pick the background. You can see it's selecting the whole thing here. I hit delete and it gets rid of all the background for me except for these little tiny pieces in here. You can go in and select with the magic wand tool and get little tiny pieces, but be aware that in this case it will grab anything that it can So you might find it deleting out pieces that you didn't intend it to. So my magic wand might be at a high tolerance or something. Oh, so also the magic wand tool, once you've made it into a live paint group, it's just going to select everything and live paint it because it doesn't recognize it as being different colors. So I'd have to, if I wanted to get rid of the white in this one, I would actually have to um, come in here, oops, select this, go up to my object menu, live paint, and expand so that it's permanent, right? And then I could come in and grab a little piece of it, and it would take only the white and delete it out. And you see it took the white in the center here as well. So Magic Wand grabs it from everywhere, any color from everywhere. If you don't want to, expand your items, you can instead. Oops, I have to go back one more. There we go. Object, live paint. So expand makes it permanent. If I don't want to expand it, I can leave it the way it is, and I can just let it be a live paint group, and I can paint it when I want to and change it up. Or I can release it. Release it, in this case, doesn't set it back to its original, like JPEG image, like with the image trace, but what it does is just send it back to its basic paths. So I expanded this live paint, or I released this live paint, and it just got rid of everything. So now I have this very plain uh, outline drawing of paths. So if you want to just get back to basic paths, that's a great way to do that. It's not too bad. So I hope that this is a good explanation for you guys of the live painting as well. Do try to experiment with the live painting in your homework. I'd like to see a couple different live paints going on, not just one live paint and then the flower repeated 100 times. You know, try a couple different live paints on the same flower, or grab a couple different flowers and try some different live paints on those. Definitely, you can use, like I said, the Easter colors in your the Easter colors, the spring colors. I guess they're kind of the same thought. Um, but you have in here, where's the nature patterns? There's flowers in here, so you can find little uh, bright foliages, purples and whatnot. So you can actually bring those into your sets here and live paint with those. Um, all you have to do is get your live paint bucket and start dropping little colors on there. And if you leave your swatches open, you can actually see where your colors are, um, as well as the scrolling through them. So, yeah. All right. Oops. Live paint bucket. So I accidentally clicked out here in the middle of nowhere, and it said live paint bucket can only paint live paint groups, and so it's trying to explain to me what to do. So, uh, that helps you out a little bit too. If you get lost in the paint, you can just click somewhere, and hopefully it'll give you some instructions. All right. That's all for the instructional videos for this week. I think there's a video attached with the homework as well. And I will see you in next week's videos. Bye.